So at India AI Summit, I am at Vertiv booth, a well-known brand in power management solutions for enterprise and a lot of companies which they are already serving in India, and a well-known brand globally in India. And we have done a lot of story. And today we are fortunate to visit the booth in AI India Summit. I am sitting with Mr. Rakesh Kumar, who is Director, Channel Alliance India and New Market Development. Am I right, sir?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so let's start the discussion about, how do you see the participation here? What were the objective, and do you think that this is really a India AI Summit?
Yeah, it's the response has been amazing, and we are overwhelmed with the response, if I may say so. What we tried doing here is we tried to create the entire booth in the form of a real data center. Right, we have a miniature which can give a conceptual understanding of the data center, AI data center, and then we have placed physical products which are working or being shown in the form of a system. That how does a data center work, and what all critical components are there in the data center ecosystem. And right from the morning till this point in time, we have seen all kind of, from different kind of, let's say, sphere. We have seen students, we have seen professors, we have seen business owners, we have seen people making decisions. So the response is amazing.
Yeah, I can see, because I have been walking through it many times. I saw a lot of crowd what they are already querying about, because the kind of setup you did about creating a real data center environment is really great to experience for the person who is new to data center, who doesn't know how the systems works.
Yeah, it's very difficult unless you see it's like seeing is believing.
Okay.
And that's what we tried doing it here, so that people get a real understanding of the data center as a complete ecosystem. In that too, a data center which has liquid cooling inside it, the data center which has DC power going into the racks. So some of these are technical things, but somebody who really wants to know, we kind of have almost everything if somebody wants to understand.
Perfect. So I'll just start with the query about the company and overall how things are going with the Vertiv. So what makes India a critical ready AI infrastructure today? How do you see it?
We all know that India has a lot of potential with respect to what it can or what we can do with AI as an opportunity as such. And we all know that India, as Honorable Minister has mentioned, that India is working on all the 5 stacks of AI as a technology. Right from energy, then data center, then chips, then what you call is the LLMs, and then the applications.
Right.
So India has the right approach so far. What we also see, that approach is getting fueled with some of the things like, for example, if I may say so, India is probably having 20% of the global data getting generated out of India, thanks to 900 million users who we are there, who are connected with the internet. So that is point number 1. And now with the help of India AI mission, we see that Digital India, a push from where the Digital India is getting converted into Intelligent India in terms of a technology stack. And we have seen the examples for that matter. Let's say, we know that in digitization, India kind of set an example for, let's say, for the commercial transactions through the UPI. And if I can add to a point, let's say the parent organization of UPI, let's say NPCI, is also trying to utilize the same information or a data and create an intelligence out of it, so that it can further
AI for
add value.
UPI?
AI for UPI.
AI for
So
UPI.
AI for UPI, you can see that. So that is like one of the example I'm sharing, wherein the Digital India is also becoming Intelligent India. That is one example. India AI mission, we all know that the government is working, and they have a plan wherein they're already, kind of subsidizing the GPUs. Probably what we say is 1/3 of a global tariff of the GPU rentals is there in India. And 40,000 GPUs are available for people, and government is adding, I think few weeks back only I have seen that 25,000 more GPUs are to be added. And if I put these things into the perspective, this is just a start. We'll see probably many more. And over last 1 week, we have seen some of the announcement. All of these are contributing to India getting ready for the infrastructure. So that is point number 2. Point number 3, if I add, look at the construction cost of the data center build in India. It is India offers a very aggressive cost of building a data center. And if I give an example, Mumbai for that matter, look at $4 million per megawatt kind of a, the capex run rate we have for building a data center, and compare that with, let's say, some of the advanced market like, let's say, US, London, Japan. the cost of building a data center there is nothing less than 6 to 8 million US dollars. So India offers that as an advantage thanks to the mature ecosystem of the equipment players who are available here. Companies like Vertiv, they are all present here with the capacity which can take gigawatt kind of a build out of the data centers. So that is this probably in the queue, the third point which I wanted to mention. The fourth point, if I mention, the operating cost of running a data center in India is again compared to other countries is very less. So India offers a tariff of a power, let's say close to 7 to 8 cents per kilowatt hour per unit, and compare that to, let's say, some of the Asian countries and the, let's say, the Western countries. The tariff there is anything beyond 12 cents per dollar. Right? In some of the countries, it is 15 cents per dollar per unit in a way. And with the ambition of government of India of adding another 500, I would say, if I say 500 gigawatt of only the renewable power to the grid by 2030, which will further drive down the cost of power per unit. So that is additional advantage for, so operating cost of running data center is also very less. And if I can add few more points, one of them would be the availability of a talent. Now, when you have to build something like this, India is we know has
Full of talent.
yeah, full of talent. The demographic dividend what we have here is available, and most of the workforce which we have is technical. They understand technology very fast, right? So that is an added advantage. All of these things are contributing in some way India getting ready for AI related infrastructure.
That's great to know because Vertiv is at the center of all these development which is happening, because power management is a key part of running a data center, and you guys are expert in those areas. Look, data center which was already existing, now new data centers are coming. Okay, so the AI is now deployed everywhere. So what challenge do you see that there are challenges in deploying AI applications over the existing data center or the new data center, and where Vertiv comes in picture? How do you help them?
Okay, so interesting question. While, as I mentioned initially, there are 5 stacks of AI as a technology, and data center is one of the critical stack in the entire thing to enable the GPUs, which is a very expensive investment, is fully utilized and not wasted. So that's where the role of a Vertiv comes into the picture. Now, what are the challenges being faced by people in building the AI data centers? If I may start with the source, and the source is the GPU itself. Let's say for that matter, GPU or a TPU, the source is the chip itself. So what happens is, compared to the conventional, the workloads and the conventional, the servers, the servers which are built with the TPUs and the GPUs are the ones which generate a lot of heat. So and if I can call a correct term there, it is a heat flux.
Okay.
Heat flux is like heat generated out of a per square meter of a surface area. The GPU generates is second in the queue in terms of a heat flux coming out of any surface area. The first is sun, wherein close to 5 to 6 kilowatt per square centimeter is the heat flux. GPU comes right next. So in the GPU currently, let's say what we see is the heat flux is anywhere close to 1 to 1.5 kilowatt per square centimeter. So to remove that kind of heat from that smaller space requires specialists, requires a technology which can take care of that. That is where what happens is it becomes challenging. How do you do it? Now, that is a starting point. But when we have to design a system around that, somebody has to have an understanding of not only the IT or the electronics, but also needs to have an understanding of physics. In the physics also, the understanding of, let's say, electrical systems, the mechanical systems, and now with the liquid cooling, even the hydraulic systems. So somebody has to have the complete knowledge of designing this kind of a system. So that is one of the challenge. Finding that kind of a talent, or finding a infrastructure provider who has the complete understanding is limited. So that is one of the challenge which people face. Another challenge what we see is the scale. Earlier we used to see the data center sizes were in, let's say, few megawatts. But now let's say from last 1 week itself, we have seen people are announcing investment in the form of $1 billion investments. and people are talking about gigawatt scale of, we have seen in recent months.
Right.
A lot of hyperscalers have called out that we are building 1 gigawatt kind of a, data centers in India. Even some of the Indian business houses have also called out that we are investing and building 1 gigawatt size of a data. So my point is the scale which we are looking at. So not only the density is increasing for the heat flux is increasing, but the scale of the data center is also increasing. So how do you have the capacity existing in the industry so far, which was building 200 to 250 megawatt of a data center in a year? All of a sudden we are looking at a 1 gigawatt of a data center to be built within a year. So the entire industry is kind of looking at a wall of a 4x or 5x jump in the equipments to be manufactured to support that kind of the data center build out. So that is challenge number 2, if I may say so. The third challenge, if I can call out, is the speed. The speed with which we have to build these data centers. So earlier, if a data center deployment time was 24 months, everybody is now talking about data centers to be built within 12 months.
Right.
Now when you have to compress the timeline of building a data center from 24 months to 12 months, a very different approach is required. Earlier, if we were building all of those data center vertically, we may have to think that can we go horizontally. So this is one of the challenges. How do you build faster? How do you increase the speed of building those data centers? That is probably the challenge number 3. And challenge number 4, which I mentioned earlier, when you have new additions into the data center technology, for example, things like liquid cooling to remove that kind of extra heat. So far we have not seen in India, for that matter, that you need to generate your own power in a data center. But probably in some of the Western conditions, what we see is the grids are getting choked. So you need to produce your own power. So microgrid kind of a thing is coming into the picture. So when these things get added into the data center technology space, you need monitoring and control, which is of a very different nature, right? So that is one more challenge. And the final challenge probably is around the availability of skilled workforce to build that kind of infrastructure. So these are some of the challenges which to answer your question,
Yes,
I
yes.
see as
Means, even I came to know about, it's a very complex work. Okay, it looks very easy that everything is running very smooth and everything, but the kind of knowledge, expertise, and the product solutions which is being deployed from Vertiv is a solution what we all know. Great, thanks for answering this. I think the audience would like to know more about the challenges which you really mentioned. These are the key challenges which players are facing these days, and we are here to answer these queries. If you have any queries related with the challenges what you might be facing, Vertiv can help you to get the answers how to drive the growth.
Yeah, for sure. We are working on all of these fronts. We have teams which bring, so we say systems thinking. So you have to design the entire thing as a system.
Right.
And then for you to design a data center as a system, you need to know rest everything. And we are working a lot on building the capacity to feed that 1 gigawatt kind of a data center build out. We are working on different ways in building the data centers which can contribute to how can you deploy a data center within a year, a modular way of building the data centers. And we are working with institutes like IIT Madras to have that kind of a skilled workforce as well for data center, not only building but also operating and maintaining.
That's good to know about the brand like Vertiv is building data centers which are AI ready, and they'll drive the AI journey from here onwards. So I'll just move to next part. How important are partnerships and ecosystems play for deploying next gen AI infrastructure in India?
Yeah, so these are early days of AI infrastructure build out. We all know that. And when there are early days in any industry, what do you need is the collaboration.
Right.
Nothing happens in silos. When the industry is mature, probably still you have standards established, and then people in their different functions or the domains follow those standards and go about building and taking care of their own, the functions. But here these are the early days, and collaboration is everything.
Right.
Vertiv works very strongly with some of the chip OEMs, for example, NVIDIA. Vertiv is a global partner to them, part of NVIDIA partner network. We kind of co-develop the products together in the data center space, and our roadmap goes along with the roadmap of, let's say, the NVIDIA, for that matter, when they roll out a new chip or a new platform, we have to ensure that the rest everything around that is available in our roadmap. So that is one. And if we don't have that, how does a next platform of any of the technology supplier gets deployed? So very important, that collaboration is very important. And then the collaboration with server OEMs, because for that matter, chip OEMs, they themselves don't supply the products to the customers. So there comes a role of server OEMs. Now the server OEMs and us, we work together again there. Vertiv works with most of the global as well as Indian brands who are providing servers of this kind of a nature, of GPU based servers. So we kind of, in a short, if I have to answer, we kind of collaborate, co-innovate, co-build. So all of that is required, and without it, building a AI data center is very difficult.
That's true, because you're working under an ecosystem. When there is one company is doing innovations and you're not as per to those directions, you'll be left out. So that is good part about Vertiv, because Vertiv has a partnership with all the leading OEMs, and you work according to their development. You have the product which is already there. I'll just move to my one part of the queries, which is sustainability. Okay, sustainability is a major discussion. Okay, as you mentioned that there are huge growth of data centers which will come up in years to come. So how do you see the sustainability as a Vertiv? How you support this cause? How you work with the companies?
Yeah, this is the very important point again. And as we see, even the theme or one of the important point of India AI Impact Summit itself, people, planet, and so planet is one part in this entire importance, and planet brings us to the point of sustainability. So while AI is important as a technology, we know it can help in so many different ways. How do we ensure that whatever we are building is sustainable in nature and is not kind of for a very short period of time? So to ensure that in our own ways we contribute, so what do we do is, so in an AI data center or in any data center, you see, other than the power being consumed by the IT gears, a good amount of power being consumed by the chillers, heat rejection systems, which take that heat which is getting generated out of the GPUs or the servers to outside atmospheres. Now, there are various ways in which you can extract that heat and reject that heat to atmosphere. What we follow is a very, very kind of a advanced way of leveraging. So we try to, so one is a conventional chiller which we have, which everybody has, which Vertiv also has, which kind of supplies the water to a required temperature set point, which is there on the technology side. What we do is we kind of try to take the advantage of the atmospheric conditions. So while we know that India is a hotter climate, but we also know that in India there comes a period wherein the temperature is lesser than, let's say, 30 degree or so, and some of these GPUs and the servers, they are okay to have the liquid coming inside the server up to, let's say, even 40 degree as well, and in the recent announcement of NVIDIA, up to 45 degree as well. So when that kind of innovations and the acceptance on the server side, earlier if a data center needed chilled water to come to a data center at 20 degree for it to cool the servers at 22 degree, now we have an opportunity to feed the liquid cooled servers. Majority of the heat is being taken by the liquid and the liquid cooled servers in the liquid cooled servers. So now we have an opportunity to feed those liquid cooled servers with the elevated temperature. Now when we have the atmospheric condition wherein in the environment if the temperature is less than 30 degree, with the help of a trim cooler, one offering I'm telling, we try to utilize the atmospheric condition, bring that temperature or use that condition without using a compressor, which is one of the critical component of a chiller which consumes majority of the power. We utilize the environment and bypass the chiller in a way and feed that to the servers with the help of a CDU. So that is one of the way to kind of use the technology which can accept the elevated temperature of the water or a liquid, and at the same time utilize the environment when it is suiting to feed that kind of a temperature. So we have the technology which is kind of a hybrid which leverages the environment conditions, but at the same time when the condition is hotter, the temperature is close to 45 degree, then how do you feed the same let's say the server at 30 degree? So then we have compressor coming into the picture. So the compressor then comes into the picture and then supplies that liquid to the server at 30 degree. So it is like a hybrid kind of a technology which we use in rejection of the heat. So that is one example. Another example is we always tell our customers that they should design the data center in a way that you are utilizing the capacity of all the, let's say, equipments which are there, and not design it, let's say, to a 50% of the capacity of a equipment. So for that matter, let's say, for an example, if you are using a UPS system, design the entire system in such a way that the capacity of a UPS is utilized to the point wherein it is feeding to the load. So we are not wasting anything there in terms of a capacity. So that is another example wherein we help in the design. Now, when I talk about, so I have covered 2 points. One is heat rejection, second is the design. The third point, if I talk about, is the deployment. Now, what happens is, remember my earlier point I was mentioning, one of the need was to deploy these data centers faster. Speed was one of the thing, which in a way driving new ways of deploying these data centers. Another critical element which is driving in designing these data centers in a different way is the what we call is a in a technical term again, embodied carbon within a building itself. So while you designing a building of a data center, if you design a data center in a concrete build way, the way we used to design it earlier, the alternate to that is you design it in a prefabricated way, wherein one is you can go faster, but at the same time, when you deploy it in a prefabricated way, you use most of the time steel and not cement. And deploying a building, prefabricated building which is made of a steel, is much more friendly to the environment. And we have done some study. What we come out with is this way of designing a data center is 50%, it kind of the carbon, let's say, if I can call out a greenhouse gas emission, the contribution of the conventional concrete build is probably 100% more than if you design it from a prefabricated way. So that is another way. So you can look for making the entire data center build in a different approach and reduce the greenhouse gas emission by 50% going with the prefabricated way. So these are some of the things which we kind of contribute in building.
You touched all the points. Okay, now sustainability, you have all the capabilities from the traditional methods, hybrid method, and all the design, even the designing. They can help you in designing the data center so that you are using all the capacity. The planning is perfect. Then the going forward, you'll have a great journey.
So we work on the entire life cycle of a data center for it to become a sustainable and environment friendly. At a technology and R&D, we ensure that whatever products we are bringing are top notch in terms of the efficiencies. That is one. Two is, when we are designing a data center, we ensure that we design it, when the designing in a system way, we design it so that it kind of takes care of all the whatever the technology allows and whatever the atmosphere or environment allows. So we use that, and when it comes to building it, then we again use a very different approach in which we can reduce the greenhouse gases. Correct. Right, by using a different way.
That's great. So you answered almost all the queries, but I'm sure there are a lot of content which I can get from you, and I'll be connecting on a regular basis to know more about what Vertiv is bringing to Indian market. Before I conclude, what would be your message to the CIOs, CTOs who might be looking to Vertiv solutions? You can look into the camera and you can say thanks whether they are using your solutions or you want them to use your solution.
So I have only one word, or one sentence rather. Okay. Is that whatever is the problem with respect to, or I will not, let's say, call it a problem, because all of this thing is in a way increasing the productivity for all of us, for CIOs and CTOs. But what I would say is, don't hesitate, reach out to us. We have answers to all of your questions with respect to the AI data center design and build.
Okay, so that's great to have you, and thank you so much for your valuable time. We got all the A to Z of the data center solutions. If you're planning to build any data center solutions, you can reach out to Vertiv, and we can help you to get them connected. And to know more, please reach out to us. You can comment on the video. We'll help you to get connected with the Vertiv team. Thanks once again.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure talking to you, sir.
Same here.
Hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, really a lot. Thank you.